All right, we are on, I think this is take 6. Time is 1:21 in the morning, Saturday the 24th. It's the day this is due. I believe it is the 24th. It is week 14 of this semester. I'm Anthony Saludo. I'm getting tired. I want to get this done. One thing I've learned through this class is perseverance. I am not a good economics student. I put my heart and soul into this, though, I will say. Speaking of perseverance, with this problem, I decided to do a sword company for topic 1. I don't know why I did swords. I feel like it's such an odd thing to do, but I had fun with it. It was awesome. I was able to do some research on something I want in my life. It was great. Although we had some typos, we had some mistakes. I'm glad I was able to spot them and fix them. Although I am not able to upload new photos for some reason. My computer will not take any new documents from an email. I'm not sure why, but I'm pretty sure I'll figure something out to drop some proper graphs. I might just be the one after everything's all said and done, keep it kind of color coordinated as I've done here. So, with my sword company in this multiple firms, and we can go into some actual real life firms later, I found some excellent sword shops for about the same price as I'm going to go over. And these are really just dice rolls for a lot of my numbers. I did try to keep your note of just keep it clean, keep it simple. I didn't try to go into crazy numbers except with some of the math that I had to do for the marginal cost, marginal revenue. Those numbers were a bit funky, but we persevered through it. So, starting, the problem is how to make my sword company cheap while being profitable at the same time. And I apologize for lighting issues. I'm not some TikToker. In a competitive marketplace, how can I make the best swords at the lowest price available for the best competitive outcome? Sword cost. Starting off in the year 2020 of Saludo Sword Company, cost of making a sword is $5. It's pretty good. Might not be the best sword, but $5 is great. So, buying a sword from the Saludo Sword Company has 3 different options. A single sword for $10, 5 swords for $60, and 10 swords for $150. Now, each of these swords, each singular sword, costs $5 to make. So in the year 2022, and again, these are just dice rolls, 0 single swords were bought in the year 2022. 4 sets of 5 swords were bought for $60 for a grand total of, I can't do that math in my head. The math is all here though. 10 sets of 10 swords were bought for $150. Total outcome is $1,740. Not bad for $5 swords. I do the same as myself. Though our total cost equals $600, as again each singular sword sold is $5. And our profits for this year are $1,104. All right, it's a nice little side job. Not something you could do all year, but it's pretty good, especially during COVID. Now for 2022, stuff gets more expensive. Cost goes up. Costs on our dice roll went to $7. Awesome, not too much. Buying a sword now has 2 options. I decided, nobody bought a sword the first time, a single sword the first time. Get rid of it. So now there's 2 options. 5 swords for $75, a little bit of a price increase. And then 10 swords for $120, a little bit lower, kind of nice. In the year 2021, 5 sets of 5 were sold for a grand total of $375, and 15 sets of 10 were sold for $1,800. The cost of making the sword $7 as we've gone over, and the total income in 2021 is $2,175. Our costs, though, are $1,205. Therefore, our profits equal $950. Now, this is where I got confused the first couple times doing this. I was getting the profits of this one confused for the costs. So, staying with the graphs, for the first one, our marginal cost is going to be $110 at $560. And the 10 $150. And our marginal cost for that one came to a total of, wrong page, whoop, not this one either. Our marginal cost came to a grand total of, that's the revenue. Marginal cost for that one came to 83 cents. That's terrible. Or I'm sorry, marginal cost, that's great. Although, for finding the marginal revenue, you have to get the change in, well, I had it written down here, the costs over the amount used. So you minus 1,225 from 600 over 175, because that's how many swords were produced in 2021, minus 120. And that gave us a grand total of $11.36 is what I had written down here. Yes, perfect. That's our marginal revenue cost. Our marginal revenue is $11.36. So following this next slide, our marginal revenue, it's going to be a little wrong here. Again, I'll put the proper graph in with everything else. The cost of 2020 were $600, while in 2021 it was 1,225. Units sold in 2020 was 120, and while in 2021 it was 175. Kind of just what I've said, just reiterating. While more units were sold in 2021, awesome, but more money was made in 2022, even with that single sword option. The marginal outcome, or marginal costs, come to $11.36. So when it comes here to our demand and marginal revenue, yes, marginal revenue. I don't know why I'm getting these two confused. Marginal revenue. This will be correct in the post. Marginal revenue should be here with $11.36. And it should go from 11 here to 1. Because that's the price for the sword. Now, the demand was a little weird. Finding that out, I found an old article study, not super old, that the amount of swords a person should carry is 3 at one time. Those being a saber, a infantry sword, and a cutlass. 3 swords for different jobs, but 3 is a weird number. We only have 2 hands. I said, this is the only article that says that. The demand's got to be 3. Though we're dead weight loss. So it's weird to do a dead weight loss without that first point. So in a hypothetical situation, our dead weight loss is going to have 2021 with the single sword option, because I have to. So our dead weight loss is going to be right here, just above the demand, or just below the demand, just scraping along the demand, I should say, coming down at about the 1. So if you were to buy 1 sword, we would not be making much money. That is our dead weight, which, in hindsight, I can see why we cut it in 2021. Now, for the real-life comparisons, this was weird. In doing the research for this, the real-world comparisons are like knockoff swords. I want, in my hypothetical situation, I wanted to make like real swords, nice, some broadswords, some falchions, some scimitars, even some nice swords. Although for the swords for that cost, they're cheap knockoffs. A sword looking like this is not going to be the best swords. Although for a 38-inch claymore is just under $17 at $16.89. For the competitive outcome, that's awesome. That's great for them. Although it's better for us as we have the cheaper of the 2 options. That's awesome. Going along with more real-world examples, here's 2 great ones, as you have a 34-inch sword for $9.45. That's cheaper, barely, than 1 Saludo Sword Company sword. Now, the second one is going to be a 29-inch sword. Now, this is what I might consider buying, as it's a little more expensive at $22.99. That's a decent price for a 29-inch sword. With this, though, in our competitive outcome, Saludo swords going to be about the same length. That's the normal sword length, about 26 inches or so. So in that, with the costs and the materials, you're going to get a just as good sword, because 3 inches is not the biggest deal when it comes to a sword, for $11 cheaper, for a little shorter sword. Katanas break. They're infamous for breaking. Saludo swords, not katanas. And then for our anime sword here, back $17 for something that is a cosplay sword. This isn't gonna self-defense yourself. Saludo swords will, with the demand at 3, you can protect your whole family, and for the thing of 10, that's mom, dad, and kids. Kid, as the average average American household is 3.13 people. And that'll give you 9.39 swords. We can round that up to 10 if we really want to stretch it, though. So with this, I just want to reiterate the viewpoints of marginal costs. The marginal cost comes to, I had it written down here somewhere. Where'd it go? Marginal costs come to, that's elastic demand. That's the wrong section. Marginal cost comes down to $58.03. Marginal revenue comes down to $11.38. Demand goes to 3. There, for a monopolistic setting in, let's go to the graph in this one. In a monopolistic setting, it would go to the $11.36 and just go straight across, because that's the price of the sword. If I was the only sword company at that price, if I was the only sword company, realistically in a real world situation, the demand or the marginal revenue cost would be like up here for a monopolistic setting. But we didn't do a monopolistic setting; it gave an option, and then deadweight loss. Going to be right here. You can see this a little bit blown up when I leave a link. And competitive outcome. I feel in this competitive outcome, I truly will have the best swords because they're not going to be your cheap knockoffs, your trading swords, something that actually is illegal to have in America. I feel little swords could be not a reality, but in this hypothetical situation, probably one of the best cheap swords you could buy. I've been Anthony Stoluto, and hopefully you don't get too bored watching this. I'll leave links to a Word document with a proper graph and a link to this PowerPoint. Thank you for hearing me out. I want to kind of wrap this up as saying this is a nice trade-off for me in an economic standpoint. This is a trade-off for me as I value my time in a way, and I feel writing a paper that would cause 3-4 hours to go, all right, cool, it doesn't feel as satisfying as this. Doing a project like this feels more satisfying. Granted, it's taken me about 8 hours to do it. I could have written the paper, turned in, and been done. I feel happy with this. I feel happy with this semester. I just hope you feel my work is as satisfying to, and here's my sources, you'll be able to see this better. I feel you will be able to look at my work as satisfying, and that's all I can pray for. I feel I've done the work, and I'm not the best economics student. I've struggled this whole semester. I feel like I've really learned something here, and I want to thank you for that. I want to try to pronounce your name. I also have an Italian name of Stoluto, and I just want to thank you for the opportunity to learn. And I hope you have a great rest of your summer. Till next time.